doing. We're very passionate about what we're doing. We care about what the customer, the impression the customer leaves with here, and we want that person to come back again. We also want that person to leave out of here and go tell his neighbor, his friend, call somebody up and say, hey, I just went down here and eat some of the best barbecue in the world. You've got to stop by the Whole Hog Cafe and check this place out.
St. Louis, home of the Arch, gateway to the West, home to football's Rams, baseball's Cardinals, and a diverse culture. The people who settled here created their own regional flavor, epitomized today by world champion barbecue.
Y'all done?
At Super Smokers.
Italian cooking put St. Louis on the culinary map. Well, for years and years, when people started doing barbecuing, they were taking that Italian mentality and applying it in the backyard and mixing tomato paste with whatever it is they could find to make their barbecue sauce.
Terry Black has a special pork dish drawing on regional flavors.
What we're going to cook today is the ultimate St. Louis pork chop. It's what I like to call the ultimate St. Louis pork chop. First of all, start with a nice piece of meat. This is a pork loin that I'm cutting into chops.
About 1.5 inches thick.
We're going to cut a slit into the middle, right here. Pita pocket, just like a piece of pita bread. I'll cut a little pocket into the pork chop and then mix my Italian sausage 50-50 with provolone cheese and stuff it down in there. One of the things I'm going to do to try to bring out the flavor in this pork chop is I am going to hit it with a little bit of a marinade just to make it wet on the outside, because we're also going to apply dry rub to it. And choose your own little favorite marinade. Mine happens to be, obviously, the Super Smokers Barbecue Mississippi Mud Sauce. But we're just going to drag the chop through the marinade a little bit. Has its own spices. There's apple cider vinegar in here. You notice it's taken on just a little bit of a different color right before our next process, which is going to be applying the dry rub. But the first thing I need to do is show you how to make the dry rub, and I'm going to share that recipe with you today. A tablespoon of chili powder, a tablespoon of garlic, a tablespoon of onion powder, and a tablespoon of seasoning salt, not just regular salt, but seasoning salt. Add to that 2.5 tablespoons of black pepper. I like cooking with black pepper. I like doing dry rubs with black pepper. This marinade has black pepper in it too. And we just take those and we blend them up, and there's the dry rub that we are going to use on the ultimate St. Louis pork chop. The basic concept of a rub is very simple. Spices have resins in them, like little oils. And you take different spices and blend them together, apply them to a piece of meat. The resins in the spices combine with the juices in the meat. As the meat and the juices in those meat heat up, the two marry. The two become one, and that's how you get your flavoring out of a dry rub. Once the pork chop is wet with a little bit of marinade, the dry rub spices are going to adhere a little easier.
Black says put a little dry rub on the inside. Mash together a fistful of sausage and cheese. Then stuff them.
If you do a real good job of cutting the slit in the middle, you'll be amazed at the amount of Italian sausage and provolone cheese you can get down in here. Some of the cheese might ooze out during the cooking process, but you'll minimize what you lose by using the toothpicks to seal it up. And this masterpiece is ready for the grill or the smoker.
Don't forget, for indirect grilling, pyramid your briquettes against one edge.
Last thing you do before you put your meat on is season your fire with some type of wood, your favorite smoking wood. Mine happens to be apple. You can use mesquite or hickory or whatever it is you like. Another thing that is key is your grid placement. I have a real certain way I like to do it, and I like to put the grid exactly like that. Notice where this opening is? That way, in case I want to add wood or charcoal briquettes to it, I can just slide them, let them fall right through there. They'll just slide right through. I can keep my fire going. That would be direct. Back over here would be indirect. We're going to draw our smoke and our heat over the chop. Notice the placement of the lid grid right here. I'm actually going to close it up for just a minute so I can get some smoke going. We're going to let it smoke like that for about an hour. Now, after letting it sit like this closed for a couple of minutes so that it'll get good and smoky, I open it back up and let it breathe. And now you can tell the smoke's rolling. Ah. Now, after about an hour of these pork chops just smoking on the kettle, I think they're ready for you. You're looking for an internal temperature of at least 150 and not more than 160. Make sure that your stuffing on the inside is done. But if you get up above 160 on that internal temperature, you're gonna have a dry chop. Mop it, baste it with some marinade toward the end just to keep the outside moist while the inside's cooking. Let's go over to the table and cut one and just see. Oh yeah. I can think of at least 3 or 4, 5 things that I've cooked in my backyard over the years or created in my kitchen, whether it's a sauce or whatever. And they simply got away from me because I didn't write it down. When we started writing stuff down, things changed for the positive for us as a barbecue team, as a catering business, as a restaurant business. If you'll take some citrus juice.
Another of Terry Black's secrets is a simple marinade.
This is lemon juice, but you can use apple juice or pineapple juice, orange juice, whatever suits your fancy, whatever your taste buds like, and add it to some water. Now, another thing I like to do is add a little bit of vinegar. My favorite is apple cider vinegar. You can do this with balsamic vinegar or any type of vinegar you want. Add that. I'm going to mix this real good. Remember our dry rub from earlier? Add a little bit of that to it. Stir it in. What do we have now? We have a marinade. It's that easy. Now if you let the marinade sit for at least 24 hours, what's going to happen is the resins, the oils, the flavoring, and the spices will start to release, and they'll really become a part of this marinade. You should always refrigerate this after making it. I would say it'd last in the neighborhood of 6 months. And now the next thing to do is marinate a chicken breast that we're going to do on a gas grill. We're going to do direct grilling on a chicken breast outside. Now also, one of the better ways to do this is to put it in a freezer bag overnight, let it sit in the marinade overnight, and really soak up the juices and tenderize like that.
Also consider a rub for chicken.
Like this. Equal parts salt and equal parts sugar in an example of making a rub for chicken will somehow magically help you get this invisible sheen around the chicken, and it will hold your juices in. Your chicken will be juicier. So after you've let this marinate for at least 30 minutes and preferably up to 24 hours, the next thing to do is head to the grill.
Black spritzes his grill with cooking spray.
Make sure your grill isn't lit when you do this. Obviously, I cleaned the grill before I did this. So now I've got a nice clean grid as well as one that's been sprayed with cooking spray. It's going to keep our chicken breast from sticking.